Yeah, I will say hello. All right. Thank you, Mrs. Hart. Thank you. Okay. Who have we got? Hello, Viet Ang. Viet Ang.
Hello, teacher.
How are you, Viet Ang?
I'm good.
Good. Good. Hello, Kang Ling.
Các con đi bật camera lên đi, bật camera, bật mic lên đi, bật luôn lên đi, vào lớp xong bật luôn đi.
Vâng.
Okay, and hello, Trami. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
Good. I'm good, thank you. It's very, very cold and wet here today. Is it still hot in Hanoi, Trami?
Yes, I think it's about 30 degrees now.
Ah, okay. Not too hot.
No,
Yes.
Not
okay.
too hot. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I think here at the moment it's about 7 degrees, but raining very hard. Okay. Hello, Bao Ling.
Hello, teacher.
How are you, Bao Ling?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good, good. Hello, Kang Ling. Can you hear me now?
Yes, hello.
Oh, good. Nice to see you, Kang Ling.
Nice to see you too.
Okay. Hello, Feng Ni.
Hello, teacher.
How are you, Feng Ni?
I'm sick now.
Oh, really? I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Okay, but you are okay to do the class, Feng Ni?
Yes, but can I don't open the camera? I look so bad now.
Okay, that's fine. Don't worry. Okay, don't worry. That's fine. Okay, please just relax. All right. But I'm glad you could come to class anyway. That's great. Okay, everyone. Well, we will get started because it's already after 1:30. So, good morning, and thank you for coming to class again. Thank you for joining me. We have what I hope is going to be a very interesting class for you today, as usual. So today we're going to be looking at writing task 1. So I'm going to be, first of all, reviewing with you. I know some of you will know this already, but just to remind you, I will review with you all the things that you need to think about when you are doing writing task 1, and all the steps you need to go through. And so we'll be looking at a sample of writing task 1. And as I told some of you last week, there's no lesson next Sunday. Okay, there's no lesson next Sunday because I will be traveling to Thailand, and I will be doing the rest of the lessons for the next month or so from Thailand. But next Sunday, I'm actually traveling to Thailand. So no lesson next week, but I will give you some homework instead to do, a task 1 exercise. But I will explain that to you during the lesson. So before we start, does anyone have any questions for me about anything? Any questions? Okay. Right, I'll share the screen with you and we will get started. Are you still on holiday, Bao Ling?
Yes, but next week I will have an extra class to prepare for new school. Yeah.
An extra class?
Yes.
Okay. In what subject, Bao Ling?
It's a 3 subjects like math, literature, and English.
Okay, so you have extra classes in all 3, do you?
Yes.
Okay. Wow, sound very busy. What about you, Kang Ling? Are you still on holiday?
Actually, I don't have holiday because I have to prepare for the exam for university. So this year,
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have
When is the exam? Or have you
Next
already done
year.
it? Next year?
Yes, but I have to prepare and start now. So
Start now.
yes,
Okay.
so I don't have any holiday.
Right. So you have been studying all the time.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Very busy. Very busy for
Yes,
you.
but next year I will go on holiday. Don't worry about that.
Okay. But
Next year.
All right, but this year you have to work.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so you're very busy. So yeah, anything I can help you with, Kang Ling, please let me know. Okay, anything to do with English, of course. I'm happy to help you. And also for any of you, all my students, I'm always happy to help you. Okay, so you will remember this from last week. This is the word ladder game. So we're just going to do a couple of these before we start each lesson, just to warm up and to get us thinking in English. So what we are looking at now is the starting word is boy. Okay, and the destination or ending word is 10. So you have to see if you can get from boy to 10 in maybe about five steps. Get from boy to 10. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up, actually I'll open up the whiteboard so you can see this as well. Okay. Okay, Viet An.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, can you give me a word, please, Viet Ang? Can you remember how this game works, by the way? The word
Yes,
ladder.
I remember.
Okay.
First, I will train B to T with toy.
Okay, toy. All right. Thank you. Kang Ling.
Maybe I will change Y to N.
Y to N. This word here. Ton.
Yes.
Okay, good. Ton is a word. Ton, by the way, do you know what it means, Kang Ling?
Yes.
Ton. What does it mean? What does it mean?
It's like something to just, I don't know how to explain, but it's, for example, it's 10 tons, like that.
Correct. So it is a measurement. I'll write this down so everyone can see.
Yes, measurement.
Of,
Weight.
yes, correct. Okay, ton, everyone, is a measurement of weight. It is a measurement in what is called the imperial system of measuring things. So countries such as yours, Vietnam, and mine, New Zealand, we use the metric system. So we talk about things weighing grams and kilograms, kilos, and we talk about tons. Okay, in the imperial system of measuring things, which is still used in countries like America, for example, they talk about pounds and ounces and miles and tons. Can you tell me, Bao Ling,
Yes.
what is the metric equivalent of a ton? What is the metric equivalent? Can you tell me?
I don't really understand the question.
Okay. So ton is a measurement of weight in the imperial system of measuring, the system that is used by countries like America. But in countries, Asian countries, and countries like mine, we use the metric system. What is the metric equivalent of a ton?
Maybe kilo or something.
No, not quite. Fung Ni, can you tell me
Can you say it again?
quickly? What is the metric equivalent of a ton? This word here. Okay, you don't know? Okay, try me.
I think it's 1,000 kilograms.
It is, but what is that better known as? We don't say 1,000 kilograms. We say it weighs.
1 tons.
How do you spell that?
TONS. TON.
Not quite. So we've already got TON here, okay, which is the imperial measurement, okay, which means 1,000 pounds. What is the word we use for 1,000 kilograms? Do you know, Trami?
I don't have any idea.
Okay, Viet Ang, do you know?
I don't have any idea.
Kang Ling,
1,000 pounds or kilogram.
1,000 kilograms. What do we call 1,000 kilograms? What is the word? There is a word for this. Also begins with T.
Begin with T?
Yeah?
No, I don't have any
No?
idea.
Okay, okay. I know I'm getting a little bit off track here, but it's useful to know these things. It is this. Okay? In the metric system, at least in this country, I assume it's the same as Vietnam. Mrs. Ha, you can tell me if it's not true, but 1,000 kilograms, here we pronounce it as a ton. Ton. Okay, so 1,000 kilograms is a ton, and that is in the metric system. In the imperial system, which America uses, 1,000 pounds is a ton. So just a slight difference in the vowel sound. This is a ton, 1,000 pounds. This is a ton, which is 1,000 kilograms. Does that make sense now, Trami?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I hope this makes sense to everyone else too. So a ton is 1,000 kilograms. A ton is 1,000 pounds. And like I say, that is the system used in countries like America, and that is called the imperial system. Whereas, of course, we use the metric system. Anyway, I've got right off the subject, but useful to know these things just to add to your general knowledge. Okay, so Bao Ling. What is the next word?
10.
Correct. Too easy. Okay, here is the next puzzle. Okay, Bao Ling, because you had the easy one, you can start off this time, please.
The next word is SAT. SAT.
Okay, this one is too easy. All right, and what is the next one? Feng Ni. Feng Ni.
I think
Very easy, Feng Ni. I know you weren't here last week, but the next one, of course, what does the word have to be? The next word.
it's a cat. CAD.
No, we all remember we're turning cat into sad. Okay,
I don't understand because last week I were not in class.
I know. Last week you were not in class. Okay, so keep watching and you will understand. Trami, what is the next word?
It's SAT.
Correct. Okay, so Feng Ni, each time you can only change one letter to make a new word, but all the time you are trying to get close to the destination or end word. Does that make sense, Feng Ni?
Yes.
Okay, so you can see we went from cat to sat by changing one letter, and from sat you can easily go to sad. All right, I think next week I will have to think of some 4-letter words. These are too easy for you. So we'll do one more. All right, dad and mum, mum and dad. Trami, you can go first this time, please.
I changed D to M is mad.
Okay. Viet Ang.
I will change A to O in mod.
Okay, Kang Ling.
I changed D to M, mom.
Okay, again, very easy. All right. And I've got one more of these, and then we will get on to writing task 1. I hope you're getting the idea now, Fung Ni. Kang Ling, you can start off this one. It will be this. Okay, dig to toe. Okay, Kang Ling,
Dig to toes.
dig to toe. Okay,
Yes, it's harder.
okay. What is your first word?
I maybe it doesn't have the word tick, right?
Sorry,
Does have the word is tick?
dig.
Is
Do you know what? Sorry, do you know what dig means? Please
yeah.
ask me if you are not sure if you know what this word means.
I know, but I don't know the way I change it.
You're not sure how to change it. Okay, okay. Kang Bao Ling, Bao Ling.
Maybe a sensitive word, but I would say die.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, Kang Ling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you see what she has done. Fung Ni.
Yes.
What is the next word, Fung Ni? Do you understand how the game works, Fung Ni?
No, sorry.
Still not sure. Okay, so you have to think of another word. Okay, that only changes one letter from die. So you can see we've gone from dig and we changed one letter. We changed the G and we made that an E. So that is die. What is another letter you can change,
I
Fung
think
Ni?
I change I to O. Dog.
Sorry, you change I to O. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
That
No,
is a
no.
sorry.
I think.
Remember, you can only change one letter. Can only change one letter. Okay, try me.
I changed D to T. It's Thai.
Correct. Okay, Fung Ni. Hello, Fung Ni.
Yes.
Yes. So you understand what is happening now, Fung Ni?
Yeah.
So we change. So try me, change the D to a T. Okay? Can only change one letter, remember? But this is still a word. Thai. Thai is a word in English. Okay? And the next one, Viet Ang. What is the next word?
The network, of course, is I to O.
Correct. Very good. Okay. So you all get the idea of that. So next week, I think, or next time, I will have some 4-letter ones for you. 4-letter ones. But I think this is a good, fun way to warm up, okay, and maybe introduce you to some new words, such as we learned before, ton, which is the metric version of ton, which is a measurement of weight. A measurement of weight is how you describe it. Okay. So let's get on to the main part of the lesson, which is all right. Writing task 1. Now, I've prepared some notes for you. So these are all the things you need to know about writing task 1. You can make notes as we look through these and talk, all right? Or I can, if you would like me to, I can send you your own copy. So please let me or Mrs. Ha know if you would like me to email you your own copy. But you also might like to make notes of these as we discuss, because these are all things you need to know about writing task 1, IELTS writing task 1. So going right back to the beginning, because we haven't done this for a while, I'm sure you all remember that writing task 1, it means you have to write about a graph, such as a line graph, a bar graph, or a pie chart, maybe a diagram. Maybe you have to write about a process, which is a diagram showing you how something works, or you have to write about a table, okay? A list of names and numbers, usually. You have to describe them. All right, so Kang Ling,
Yes.
can you read number 1 for me, please?
Okay. Simply describe the data and write what you see. Pick out the key points and don't make it complicated. KIS, KISS. You are not writing a PhD thesis.
Good. Okay. So what does KISS stand for, Kang Ling?
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. All right. I will always talk to you about this. Keep it simple. Okay. Keep it simple means you don't try to make it too complicated. You always write good, simple English sentences that are correct. That means, of course, that you can still use formal, academic, and more complicated words as long as you know exactly what they mean. Of course, you must use these words if you want to get a good mark. But first of all, you must be able to write a correct, simple English sentence. Then you can add things like formal words. But always keep in mind, keep it simple. You don't need to make it complicated. This, by the way, here is pronounced PhD, Kang Ling, PhD. Okay, maybe one day you will have one if you keep studying. Maybe one day. Okay, you will be a PhD, maybe. Okay, thank you, Kang Ling. So that is the first one. So all you're doing in task 1, sometimes students they will see a graph or they will see a table and they will see a chart and they will go, oh no, what do I do with this? This looks so difficult, so complicated. All you are doing in task 1 is describing the data, describing the figures. That's all you are doing. So all you have to do is interpret the figures yourself, okay, which I will show you how to do as we go through these lessons, and then just write a description about it. It's very simple, nothing to get too worried about, okay? It's easy. It is easy once you know what to do. And that's what I'm showing you. Bao Ling,
Yes.
can you read number 2 for me, please?
Yes. Very short question. Consider doing task 2 before task 1. Reason: because you will only have 20 minutes left. This forces you into simpler and quicker analysis of the data. If you do task 1 first, there is a temptation to over-analyze, write too much, and go over time. Task 2 is what ties as much as task 1.
Okay, thank you, Bao Ling. Good reading. So what I'm making this is to you a suggestion, all right? Remember, task 2 is the long essay. Task 2 is the long essay, and you allow yourself 40 minutes to do task 2. Because task 2 is worth twice as many marks as task 1, maybe it makes sense to do task 2 before task 1. Now, I'm not saying you have to do this, okay? It's up to you. It's up to you. But for some people, they spend too much time on task 1, maybe 30 minutes, and then suddenly they find they've only got 30 minutes left to do task 2, which is not good because task 2 is worth twice as many marks. So if you know that you can stick to time and that you can finish task 1 in 20 minutes, then of course do task 1 first. But there is no rule that says you have to do task 1 first, then task 2. You can do them the other way around. All right, you can swap them around. And of course, because task 2 is worth twice as many marks, then of course you need to spend twice as much time on task 2. So that is common sense. Does anyone have any question about that? So this is something just to think about when you are doing the test. Maybe think about doing task 2 first, come back to task 1 later. Okay, number 3. Where did I get up to? Feng Ni.
Follow the same structure for all task 1 question. Line graph, bar graph, pie chart.
Yep.
This remove stress and complexity in case.
Yeah, keep it simple. Remember, KIS means keep it simple. So no matter what task 1 question you get, whether it's a line graph, a bar graph, a pie chart, or a map, you follow the same structure. That is your first paragraph. Who can tell me this? Feng Ni, what is the first paragraph in a task 1 essay? Always. What is it? Begins with P. Begins with P. Okay, try me.
Is paraphrase.
Correct. Okay, the first paragraph in any task 1 essay is always a paraphrase of the title of the graph. Okay, it is always a paraphrase. All right, what is paragraph number 2? Viet Ang, can you remember what paragraph number 2 of a task 1 essay is? This word begins with O. O.
Oh, I can remember it.
Okay, Kang Ling.
Yes. Oh.
Can you remember? The second paragraph of a task 1 essay is always an word begins with O. O. It's always an.
Okay, or passive? Maybe no.
Okay, maybe not. Bao Ling.
Is overall.
Correct. Overview. Overview, everyone. Okay? Overview is always the second paragraph of a task 1 essay. Always. Okay? An overview, in case some of you have forgotten, is just a summary of what the graph shows. A summary. 2 or 3 sentences summarizing what the graph shows. So the first paragraph is always a paraphrase. The second paragraph is always an overview. Feng Ni,
Yes.
what is next? What follows the paraphrase and overview? Some of you might remember, I did this probably a few months ago now, but some of you might remember I used the acronym POT, POT, to remind you of the structure of a task 1 essay. So the P from POT is paraphrase, the O from POT is overview. What does the T stand for, Feng Ni? Can you remember?
Sorry, I don't remember.
Try me.
Is 2 detailed paragraph.
Correct. 2 detailed paragraphs. 2 detailed paragraphs. So remember, a task 1 essay is always 4 paragraphs. 4 paragraphs. Viet An, what is the first paragraph?
The first paragraph is paraphrase.
Good. What is Kang Ling? What is the second paragraph?
As overview.
Overview, correct. And Bao Ling, what is next?
Too detail.
There, to what?
Too detail.
2 detailed paragraphs. 2 detailed paragraphs. So please, everyone, remember POT. POT. It's an acronym. P stands for paraphrase, O stands for overview, and T stands for 2 detailed paragraphs. So again, looking at number 3 here, you follow the same structure for any task 1 question. Always has the structure, POT. Number 4, where did I get up to? Try me.
A clear overview is crucial to getting a good mark, so practice writing overviews more than anyone else.
Oh, not anyone. Try me. What does it say?
Anything else?
Anything else. Good. All right. So out of all the 4 paragraphs, the second one, the overview, is the most important. Okay, because this is the one that shows that you understand what the graph is about. So this one gets more marks than any other paragraph. The overview paragraph or the second paragraph, because this is where you summarize what the graph is telling you. Remember, a graph is simply a way of showing information or data. And the overview paragraph, you describe, in English of course, what the information or data is telling you. So a clear overview is crucial to getting a good mark. If you want to get a 7, an 8, or even a 9, you must have a correct overview. All right. Are there any questions about that? Again, let me summarize very quickly. The structure for any task 1 essay is always the same. POT, paraphrase, overview, 2 detailed paragraphs, where you describe in detail some of the main features of the graph. Number 5, Viet Ang.
Number 5, when quoting figure, use approximation. What is e.g.?
Okay, e.g. means is a short way of writing for example. For example. Okay.
For example, around just over overview approximately this time.
Good. Okay. So when quoting figures, so say in the graph, something has a measurement in the graph of 5.2. Okay. So instead of saying 5.2, you would say just over 5 or around 5 or approximately 5. Does this make sense to you, Viet Ang? Hello, Viet Ang.
Yeah, teacher.
Yeah, does that make sense to you? Does that make sense? So instead, maybe the graph, and I will show you all this later, but maybe you can see on the graph something has a measurement of 5.2 or 5.3. So instead of saying that exactly, you just say it's around 5 or just over 5 or approximately 5. Okay, all these, by the way, are synonyms, meaning about. Something is about 5. And the reason we do this is that it saves time. Okay, you don't actually have to write out 5.2 or 5.3 or 5,250,000. Okay, that takes a while to write down. You can use approximations such as around, just over, approximately. Does that make sense to you, Kang Ling?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, Kang Ling, can you please read for me number 6?
Okay. Write what you see. Don't try and interpret the data. Your opinions isn't necessary.
Good. Thank you, Kang Ling. So what this means is sometimes students look at these graphs or tables or maps, and they think they have to give an opinion on this. Oh, I see something has gone up here that is bad, or something has gone up that is good. Okay, this is not required. All you are doing is describing what is happening in the graph. Just describe what is happening. You don't give an opinion on it. You don't say if something is good or bad or sad or unfortunate or terrible or whatever, okay? You're just describing the data. Okay. Number 7, please. Bao Ling.
If you're going to do the computer-based test, practice writing with the word counter off so you know what 150 and 200 words look like. Try writing 50 words on actual answer sheet. Get copy online so you know what that look like on paper.
Okay, good. So I know none of you are doing the Ielts test this year, but what happens when you come to do the test is that you can either do it on a computer, typing on a computer, or you might still have to do it in handwriting. Maybe this will change next year and it might all be on the computer. But at the moment, as far as I understand, sometimes you do the test on the computer where you have to type. Sometimes you do it by hand. Now, remember that for writing task 1, you are always looking at writing around 150 words. Oh, by the way, Bao Ling,
Yes.
when you see figures written like this, okay, with a dash in between, okay, you pronounce it 150 to 200 words.
Yes.
Okay, Bao Ling, so this dash is pronounced to, as in T-O, T-O.
Yes.
All right, 150 to 200. So generally in writing task 1, you will always be aiming at writing 150 words. So what I mean by this is that you need to practice writing on a piece of paper on the computer so you know what 150 words looks like. Because, of course, during the test, you won't be able to have the word counter on, and so you won't be able to tell exactly how many words you've written. So you must be familiar with what 150 words looks like on a piece of paper. And the same with your handwriting. You must become familiar with what 150 words might look like when you write them out by hand. Again, this is common sense, but it's good to be reminded of this. Okay. Feng Ni, number 8.
Find test online and practice paragraph phrasing. In task 1, the same words come up all the time. Show chart.
So how do you know how to say this, by the way, Feng Ni?
Oh,
This here? Okay, this is pronounced etc. Etc. Do you know what etc means, Feng Ni?
yeah,
Okay, what does it mean?
I understand, but I don't know how to explain this.
Okay, it means and so on. And so on. Okay, so words like shows, chart, and so on. Other words that are similar to that. And Feng Ni, do you remember how to pronounce this? E.g. Feng Ni? Can you hear me, Feng Ni? Okay, what does E.g. mean, Feng Ni?
I think it's like, for example.
Correct, yeah, means for example. You're correct. So when you see e.g., you have to say for example. Actually, you can say e.g. You can just say e.g. and people will know what you mean. But you can either say e.g. or for example. All right. So again, when it comes for you to practice doing the test, when you know you've got the tests doing up, there are lots of tests you can find online. Okay. So practice paraphrasing. Again, in the past, I've shown you words to use in your paraphrase, but of course, we'll be practicing this again over the next few lessons. Okay. Try me.
Yes.
Okay. Number 9, try me.
Don't just write everything you see and hope for the best. Follow the plan. Go into the test 100% sure about what you need to do.
Okay. So when I say follow the plan, try me, what is the plan?
Is POT.
Correct. Okay. And how many paragraphs? How many paragraphs altogether?
4 paragraphs.
Correct. Okay. So you know your plan is always you are going to write a paraphrase, an overview, and 2 detailed paragraphs, making 4 paragraphs altogether. So you know every time you do a task 1 essay, you are going to write 4 paragraphs. The first paragraph is a paraphrase, the second is an overview, and then 2 detailed paragraphs describing in a bit more detail some of the information that you can see. That is your plan. So you must follow this plan, and it will help take the stress, most of the stress, I hope, out of doing this exercise, because you know that every time you use the same plan. The only thing that changes is the picture in front of you and the information, but you have the same structure, the same plan always. So don't just write down, as some students do, every single thing they see on the graph or chart or table. Okay? With the detailed paragraphs, you're only looking for the most important things, not everything. Viet Ang. Viet Ang. Number 10, Viet Ang. Number 10.
Now then, think positively. Don't be put off by the different graphs, diagrams, etc. Might look complex, but it isn't. All you are doing is describing information. Treat every question the same way. They are own visual representations of data. In a 90% of students don't understand it. Be part of the 10% who do.
Okay, thank you, Viet Ang. And by the way, Viet Ang, in the sentence here that begins with don't, I have made a spelling mistake. Can you tell me what it is? In this sentence here, I have made a mistake. Can you tell me what it is?
Uh,
You're not sure.
Don't. I'm not sure. Yes, I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Kang Ling,
Yes.
I've made a mistake. Okay, in this sentence, can you tell me what it is? What is the mistake? Just
Maybe
the sentence that starts with don't. Just that sentence. There is a mistake in there. What is it? Can you see?
different.
Yes. What is wrong with that word?
Don't.
Correct. Very good, Kang Ling. Okay, everyone. Difference doesn't have an S. Okay, there is no such word as difference. Okay, so I've made a mistake and left the S in there. Okay, well done, Kang Ling. That's good. Good editing. That's good. Good practice. Okay, to look at other people's mistakes. See if you can see that the word is correct. Okay, so as I was saying, okay, 90% of students don't understand that task 1, all it is about is describing information. It doesn't matter how the information is presented. Okay, a graph, a table, a chart, a map, a diagram, a process. They are all just different ways of showing information in a visual way. So all you are looking at is describing the information that they show. Once you understand this, and I hope you all do, this takes a lot of the stress and pressure off you, because you know that all you are looking for, no matter what picture you see, is deciding what information it is telling you and describing it. That is all you are doing with this exercise. And you are doing it using the structure of POT. So I'm just spending a little bit of time emphasizing this, because once you understand this, as I say, it takes a lot of the stress out of doing this exercise. All you are looking at is a visual representation or picture of data. All you have to do is describe the data or data. That word, by the way, D-A-T-A, can be pronounced two ways. Either way is correct. Data is what people, British people will say. Data is what American people say. But both pronunciations are accepted as correct. Data or data, both mean the same thing. Information. As I say here, once you understand this, that all you're doing is describing information, you are one of only about 10% of students who understand this. And understanding this is a big step towards getting a good mark in writing task 1. Again, are there any questions about that? All task 1 is about is describing information. That's all it is. And describing it using the POT structure. That's all it is. And that's what we're going to be practicing shortly. Okay. Where did I get up to? I got up to, I think it was you, Kang Ling, wasn't it?
I've done the number 6. Sorry.
Did you do, who did number 10? I think Viet Ang did number 10. Number 11, Kang Ling.
Okay. Don't spend too long looking at the data and information. Don't fall into the trap of paralysis by analysis.
Okay, so these are supposed to rhyme. The first word here, Kang Ling, is paralysis.
Okay.
Paralysis. Okay, and the next word is analysis. So what I'm saying, don't fall into the trap of paralysis by analysis. Do you know what paralysis means, Kang Ling? If you are paralyzed, do you know what that means?
No,
If you are paralyzed means you can't move. You can't move if you are paralyzed. Someone who is paralyzed means they can't move. You might have heard sometimes people, they injure their spine in their back, okay? And they become paralyzed. They can't move their arms or legs. Does that make sense, Kang Ling?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So when someone can't move, if you can't move your arms or your legs, or maybe any other part of your body, you are paralyzed. That is the English word for this situation. Someone who is paralyzed can't move. But you can also use the word when you are talking about thinking or doing something. Sometimes people get paralyzed by fear. They are so frightened by something, they can't move. All right, so paralyzed just means you can't move. So paralysis by analysis. Kang Ling, can you have a go at telling me what that phrase means, please? Paralysis by analysis.
Mean when you analysis and you don't have any idea, so you got paralysis.
Yeah, kind of. You're on the right track. Bao Ling. Bao Ling.
Yes.
Okay. Can you please have a go at telling me what this phrase means?
Paralysis by analysis.
Yes. What does that mean?
Like you overthink a problem too much, so you can
Correct. Correct. Okay. That's a very good way of expressing it, Bao Ling. Very good. Good English. It means you overthink too much about a problem, and you are spending so much time thinking that you don't do anything. You don't write anything because you are spending so much time looking at it and thinking. Doesn't mean this, doesn't mean that you become paralyzed. You can't move, you can't write because you are thinking too much. So what I'm saying, don't spend too long looking at the information. Okay, you only have 20 minutes to do all of task 1, to write 4 paragraphs. So you only have a few minutes to analyze the information. Analyze is a synonym for interpret or understand. Analyze means to look at data and decide what it means. So paralysis by analysis means you overthink. You think too much about what something means. You have to get practice, and this is where you go online and do tests and come to these classes, of course, to get used to analyzing data and information very quickly. Okay, Bao Ling, number 12.
don't exist go over the time limit, 20 minutes or less.
Good. Okay, so you should all know by now, task one, you have 20 minutes. 20 minutes to complete task 1, always. 20 minutes. Otherwise, you are eating up into the task 2 time. And as I said at the beginning of this talk, task 2 is worth twice as many marks as task 1. So you don't want to use up task 2 time. So exceed means to go over. Exceed and go over mean the same thing. So don't exceed the time limit. Number 13, please. Phung Ni.
Become familiar with the specific vocabulary and grammar required. Learn and practice.
Good. Okay, so some of you will know the vocabulary already, but we're going to be practicing this. There's a limited number of words and phrases that you use during task 1. You need to become familiar with these. Remember, in the Ielts test, they talk about lexical resource, which is just a very formal and academic way of saying, how many words do you know? Do you know the correct words for this exercise? Okay, so you need to become familiar with the words. Words like shows, demonstrates, words like increases, decreases, climbs, falls, rises, drops, all the vocabulary associated with describing information. Now, I've talked quite a bit about task 2 and how much it is worth, but number 14, please, try me. Number 14.
Remember, task 1 is still worth 30%, so it is worth practicing.
Correct. Okay. So again, some students, they spend a lot of time worrying about the task 2 essay. Okay, because it is longer and more complex and requires quite a bit more thought. But task 1 is still worth 30%. 30% is a lot of marks. So it's still worth practicing, still worth doing well, of course, in task 1, because it's still worth 30%. And if you can get most of that 30% for doing task 1, then you're well on your way for getting a very good score for your writing. Okay, number 15, Viet Ang. Viet Ang.
Việt Anh ơi,
Dạ.
bật mic con lên. Không biết hay có biết thì trả lời con.
Con
Okay,
vừa bị mất cái nồi.
Yeah. Can you please turn your camera on, Viet Ang, so I can see you as well, please?
Yes, teacher. My connect. What is connect?
Okay, that's better. Thank you, Viet Ang. Okay, number 15, please.
Number 15. Get your writing checked by someone who knows English. For example, a professional teacher.
Yeah, for example, or someone you know who understands English very well. Always pays to get your writing checked by someone who knows English. And in this case, of course, either myself or Mrs. Ha. All right. So when you are practicing, you are always welcome to show your writing to myself or Mrs. Ha to get it checked. And by the way, that's Viet Ang. Viet Ang.
Yes.
Okay, this word is pronounced checked. Checked.
Check.
Okay,
Check.
it's not checkered. You said checkered, which is a different word. This one is pronounced checked. 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 Okay. Those are the 15 suggestions that I have for writing task 1 and doing well in writing task 1. Again, are there any questions about that? Okay, let's keep going. Where did I get up to? Viet Kang Ling.
Yes.
Okay, what is the purpose of a graph? Kang Ling?
What is the purpose of the graph?
Yes, what is it? It is. Keep reading. Keep reading, Kang Ling. Keep reading.
What is the purpose of the graph? To present information not easily.
Correct. That's fine. That's all I wanted you to read. Thank you, Kang Ling. So what is the purpose of a graph? Again, I emphasize this point. All a graph or a map or a diagram or a table is just to present information more easily, to present it like a picture. A map or a diagram or a graph, all it is a picture of information. And again, remember your job in task 1, all you have to do is describe the information in the picture. It is as simple as that. Okay. Bao Ling, a line graph shows what? What does a line graph show?
So trends over time.
Good. A line graph, all it does is show changes over time. Always. A line graph just shows how things change over time. A bar chart. Fung Ni, what does a bar chart do? What does a bar chart do?
A bar chart compares different categories.
Correct. Good. A bar chart compares different categories. Some of you will remember this, I'm sure. We looked at this graph a couple of months ago. Australian cities and how much tea or coffee they drank. Okay? That was a bar chart. A bar chart. Okay? The different categories were about how much tea or coffee was consumed in different Australian cities. And the last one of these, a pie chart. Prami, what does a pie chart show us?
A pie chart compares different portions of a whole.
Good. A pie chart compares different portions of a whole. Usually, a pie chart, well, always a pie chart is round, okay, and it gets divided into slices. Each of these slices is called a portion of the whole meaning the whole pie, the whole circle. All right. And again, just how to structure your answer. I won't get you to read this because you all understand this by now, I hope. The first paragraph is an introduction and is a paraphrase. The second paragraph is an overview. Okay, an overview, it is the most important paragraph, and I will explain a little bit more about this shortly, but think of the overview as being like a newspaper headline. When you read a newspaper headline or you read a news story, any sort of story online, it always has a headline at the top, which gives you an idea of what the story is about. That is what the overview paragraph does. And then, as we know, the T of pot, 2 detail paragraphs. And always, you don't need to write a conclusion for task 1. You do for task 2, but never for task 1. You don't need to write a summary at the end. The summary is actually in the overview. That is where you summarize the information. Okay. So let's have a look at this. I'm going to share. Okay, I hope that is working. Try me.
Yes,
Can you see the graph yet?
yes, I
not?
can see it.
Good. Okay. So this is an actual graph from an Ielts test. Okay. This is from an Ielts test. So this is the sort of graph you would get in the exam. I'll try and make it a wee bit smaller so the whole thing fits on the page. Almost. Don't want to make it too small, otherwise you'll have trouble reading it. Okay. So, try me, can you still read everything?
Yes,
Okay. Can you please read for me the title of this graph, please?
the graph below shows the number of tourists visiting a particular Caribbean island between 2010 and 2017.
Okay, very good, try me. That is exactly how you say those figures. Okay, that was exactly right. 2010 and 2017. So, again, this is the title of the graph. All right. Then the second sentence always tells you what you have to do. All right. What do you have to do? Viet Ang, what do you have to do?
Right. What?
Can you see the second sentence, Viet Ang?
Yet the second sentence. Summarize.
Yep. And sorry, Viet Ang, can you please turn your camera back on, please?
Oh, yes, okay.
Okay.
Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparison where relevant.
Good, good. Okay, make comparisons where relevant. Okay, this word here, everyone, is pronounced relevant, just like it is spelled, relevant, relevant. What it means is make comparisons where they are important and useful. So something that is relevant is something that is important or useful. Important or useful is what relevant means. So you have to summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features. Okay, remember what I said earlier about don't describe every single thing you can see happening on this graph, because there are quite a few different points marked on the graph. There's a lot to describe if you want to, but you don't want to. All you want to do is report the main features, okay? And make comparisons where you think they are important or interesting or useful. That's what relevant means. So this first sentence is always called the question prompt. The question prompt. Kang Ling,
Yes,
okay, can you still see the other document that we were looking at before, or can you only see the graph?
I only see the graph.
Oh, okay. So I've got two screens, you see, so I can look at a different document on each screen. But because you've only got one screen, I won't go back to that actually. I will keep you looking at the graph. But this is called the question prompt. Prompt spelled P-R-O-M-P-T. P-R-O-M-P-T. What question prompt means is this is what is going to make you do something. So the graph below shows the number of tourists visiting a Caribbean island between 2010 and 2017. This is always what you paraphrase for your first paragraph. So again, I said before that the structure of writing task 1 is very simple, very easy. First paragraph is always a paraphrase. This is what you paraphrase, the question prompt. Every time, okay? All you have to do is paraphrase this. If you don't understand a particular word, don't panic. Don't worry. For example, Bao Ling.
Yes.
What does Caribbean mean? Do you know?
I know this name from a movie.
Right. And what does it mean? What is a Caribbean island?
Like I forgot. Like the pirate or something.
You're thinking of Pirates of the Caribbean, aren't you? I know.
Yes.
That is the movie you're thinking of. All right. What it means, Caribbean island. Caribbean is a geographical location. It is a place. Okay. The Caribbean is a place. It's off the coast of South America. The Caribbean is a group of islands off the coast of South America. So, but maybe you see this in a sentence, and this is the first time you've seen this word. Don't panic. All right. Don't worry that you don't know what Caribbean is, because all it's talking about, it really is an island. It's just an island. Okay. It doesn't matter if it's Caribbean island or Vietnamese island or Japanese island or whatever. That's not important. The important thing in this phrase is the word island. All right. So if you see a word like this, don't panic. Don't get suddenly upset or stressed when you see a word like this. Oh, I don't know what a Caribbean island is. Doesn't matter. The only word that's important is island. Okay. So the first thing you look at when you're doing writing task 1 is obviously absorbing and understanding the information. So the first thing you've looked at is the title. Phong Ni.
Yes.
Okay, Phong Ni, the next thing you need to look at, okay, are remember this is called the x-axis, all right, this one here. Okay, what is this axis called? Phong Ni, can you remember?
Sorry,
This
I
one is called the x-axis, the line that goes up. Can you remember what axis this is called?
Sorry, I don't.
Okay, Trami,
Yes.
what is this axis called? If this axis AXIS, by the way, is called the x-axis. What is this one called?
It's the y-axis.
Correct. Feng Ni, can you remember now?
Yes.
Okay, so this vertical line is the x-axis in a graph. It's always called the x-axis. The horizontal line, or line that goes across the page, is always called the y-axis. So the first thing you look at when you're looking at a graph like this is the title. Okay, so you know what the graph is about. The next thing you look at is what the x-axis is telling you and what the y-axis is telling you. So, Feng Ni, what is on the x-axis? What is the x-axis measuring?
It shows the millions of visitors.
Almost correct. How do you pronounce this word, Feng Ni?
Sorry, I can't see the word.
I know it's on its side. Turn your head on its side if you can. I know you're not feeling very well. Can you turn your head on your side to see what it is? You want me to make it a little bit bigger?
It's the millions of visitors.
Correct. Good. Millions of visitors. So what the x-axis is showing everyone is the number of visitors, okay, to a Caribbean island. Okay. Each of these numbers represents what, Feng Ni? What does 2 mean? What does 2 mean?
I think it's 2 millions.
Correct. Good. You understand. So 2 means 2 million visitors. 2.5 means 2.5 million visitors. Okay. So the x-axis is the number of visitors. Try me, what is on the y-axis?
It's the years.
Yes, it's the years. Very easy. The years. Okay, so the second thing, remember, you look at when you are looking at any graph, the first thing is the title, which is this graph shows the number of tourists visiting a particular Caribbean island. The next thing you look at is what is on each axis. Axis. Remember, axis is spelled A-X-I-S. This is always called the x-axis. And in this case, the x-axis shows the number of people or millions of visitors. The y-axis shows the number of years that the visitors came in. All right. And the next thing you look at, okay, is this here is referred to as the key, K-E-Y, the key, K-E-Y, because the key tells you what each of these lines represent. Okay, Viet Ang.
Yeah, teacher.
Okay, Viet Ang. So looking at the key, Viet Ang, what does this line represent? Can you tell me what this line represents?
It have 3.5 million of visitors in
Not quite Viet Ang, not quite. So looking at the key, remember this is the key, okay? Here.
total. Yeah.
This is the
total.
key. Yeah. Total of what? Total of what?
Total.
Okay. What is here on what does this axis measure?
In a million of visitors.
Good. Okay. So total of what, Viet Ang? Total.
Total of million of visitors.
Close. Okay. The total number of visitors. The total number of visitors. All right. This line represents the total number of visitors. So you need to look at the key to tell you what each line means. So this line represents, the best way to say this in English, what I would say is this line represents the total number of visitors in millions. The total number of visitors in millions. Okay, that's what that line represents. Kang Ling.
Yes.
All right, Kang Ling, what does this line represent?
It's about the what is this? Visitors staying on island.
Good. Okay, it represents the number of visitors staying on the island. All right, this line represents the number of visitors staying on the island. Baoling.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, what does this line represent or
Re-
show us?
represents the number of visitors staying on island. I don't. The
No.
visitor on cruise ship.
Correct. The number of visitors staying on cruise ships. Okay, so now you understand, I hope, what the information or the data is telling us. So remember, the first paragraph you are going to do is a paraphrase of the title. The second paragraph, Feng Ni.
Yes.
The first paragraph is a paraphrase. What is the second paragraph?
It's the overview.
Correct. The second paragraph is always an overview. Remember, an overview of the information is like a newspaper headline. A newspaper headline. Okay. Can you, Feng Ni, very quickly, and I'll ask each of the rest of you this as well until I get a complete answer. Can you give me a newspaper headline for what you can see on this graph, Feng Ni? One sentence. One sentence.
I don't understand what you said.
Okay. You're not sure what a newspaper headline is? Okay. Hopefully one of the others will show us. If not, I will explain it. Try me.
Yes.
Okay. Give me a newspaper headline, one sentence about what this graph tells us.
I think the total number of tourists who visit the Caribbean island increased during the period.
Correct. Very good, Trami. That's exactly what it tells us. Okay. Feng Ni.
Yes.
Okay, going back to you, Feng Ni, because it's important you understand this. Okay, so what Trami said, and please everyone listen to this. Okay, so what this graph shows us and what a newspaper headline description would be is that the total number of visitors to the Caribbean island increased between 2010 and 2017. Okay, that is a one-sentence description of this graph. Does that make sense, Feng Ni?
Yes.
Okay, so you look at the graph and you look at overall what it shows, and you can see straight away that the number of visitors here is quite low, and the number of visitors here, it has grown quite a lot over the time period. So all you say is, because you know what each part of this graph means now, is that you say the number of visitors to the Caribbean island increased between 2010 and 2017. One sentence. It's almost like you are standing, I'll try put this another way. It's almost like you are standing on top of a ladder and looking down on the graph from a tall height, which gives you a picture, an overview of the main change that has happened. So your overview is just talking about the main change that you can see from the top of your ladder. At this stage, you are not looking at any detail. All you're looking at is the main picture. And the main picture that you can see is that the number of visitors here was quite low. The number of visitors here was quite high. So over the period, overall, the number of visitors increased. Does that make sense to you, Kang Ling?
Yes.
Yes? Are you sure? You don't sound very confident, Kang Ling.
No, it's yes.
Okay, so you're just looking at a one-sentence description of what the main thing you can see happening in the graph. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, and everyone, I keep using the term newspaper headline. I hope that makes sense to you. It makes sense to me, but please tell me if a newspaper headline doesn't make sense to you. Okay, you are looking at just a one-sentence description of the main thing that has happened in the graph, and that is your overview. So that is your second paragraph. And then, of course, the T in pot. What does the T in pot stand for? Viet Ang. Viet Ang.
Yes.
Okay, remember we have pot. Pot is the word we use to describe the structure of our answer. So P stands for paraphrase. O stands for overview. What does T stand for?
In true detail.
Correct. Okay, so your next two paragraphs are going to be a description in a bit more detail of what is happening on the graph. So in this case, and you are looking at the main things that are happening. Remember, you don't have too much time. You only have a few minutes to do each of these paragraphs. So you're looking at the main detail. And I think maybe the main detail, let me see. Bao Ling.
Yes.
Okay, can you give me a detail from the graph that might be useful for paragraph 1? So really you are looking at these two lines, okay? You are looking at these two lines. What is one detail you can think of?
Maybe it's increased over the year.
Okay, you can say the number of visitors increased overall, all right? The number of visitors increased overall would be what I would use maybe for paragraph 1. Does that make sense to everyone? You can see that overall, even though it went down a little bit here, overall, over this period of 7 years, the number of visitors has increased overall. So in your first paragraph, you might write something like, in 2010, the total number of visitors visiting the island, was 1 million. All right. This rose to reach a figure of about 2.75 million in 2015. It then plateaued, all right, which is a word I will explain at a later lesson if you can't remember what it means. It then plateaued before increasing to 3.5 million in 2017. So that is my first paragraph. So that is looking at detail. So again, my paragraph would say something like, in 2010, 1 million visitors came to the island. It rose steadily to reach 2.75 million in 2015. It then plateaued before climbing to reach 3.5 million in 2017. And that is a paragraph. Paragraph 2, all right, this line here, remember, looks at the difference, or these two lines looks at the difference between visitors staying on cruise ships and visitors staying on the island. What is the main feature of these two lines? Trami, what has changed?
In 2016,
What happens?
The visitors who stay on cruise ships increase, but the visitors who stay on Iceland decrease.
Okay, that is the main feature. Very good, Trami. And the way I would describe it, everyone, is this. In 2010, more visitors stayed on the island than stayed on cruise ships. But by about 2015, this started to change. So by the end of the period, more visitors were staying on cruise ships than stayed on the island. Does that make sense, Trami?
Yes.
Okay, and that is paragraph 2, and that is all you have to write. That is all you have to write for paragraphs 1 and 2. So again, to summarize, paragraph 1, Viet Ang.
Yeah, teacher.
Okay, are you listening to this, please? And Phung Ni.
Yes.
Okay, Phung Ni. So please listen to this and tell me if you don't understand. But paragraph 1, you would say the number of visitors increased from how many in 2010, Viet Ang?
It 1 million of visitors.
Okay, good. 1 million visitors in 2010 increased to how many in 2017?
It
Sorry, Viet Ang, I can't hear you. I'll ask Phung Ni.
it
Phung Ni.
3.5 in
Yeah. Good. Phung Ni, can you tell me? Thank you, Viet Ang. Thank you. Phung Ni?
3.5 million.
Correct. Okay, so that is paragraph 1. Okay, the number of visitors increased from 1 million in 2010 to 3.5 million in 2017. Okay, Kang Ling, what is paragraph 2?
The paragraph 2 is visitors staying on island and no, but maybe my internet is wrong.
Your internet is right. Your internet is dropping out a little bit. Sorry. I'll ask Bao Ling. Bao Ling.
Yes.
What is paragraph 2, Bao Ling?
Can you say it again? Paragraph 2.
Yes. So do you understand what I'm asking you? Paragraph 1, we are going to say the number of visitors increased from 1 million in 2010 to 3.5 million in 2017.
Okay.
All right. What is paragraph 2 going to be about?
Maybe it went from 0.8 to 1.5.
Too much detail. Okay, Varling. Remember, okay, so we're looking at these two lines now. We're looking at these two lines, visitors staying on cruise ships and visitors staying on the island. So paragraph 1, okay, we've described this line. Paragraph 2, we need to say something about these two lines.
Yes.
Can you try again, please, Bowling? What's
They-
happened with these two lines? What's happened?
They increase.
Yeah, but more than that. They haven't just increased. What's changed? Something has changed.
The number from exchange. Right.
Okay, Trami, can you tell me, please?
I think the paragraph 2 will compare the visitors staying on cruise ships and staying on Iceland.
Correct. So how would you say that in a couple of sentences, Trami? Just say it to me. Just read to me what you can see.
Visitors who stay on cruise ships increased in the last period,
Okay.
while
Not
visitors who stay on Iceland.
not bad, Trami, not bad. Let me give you a clue. In 2010 is how your first sentence starts. In 2010, the number of visitors who stayed on the island was more than the number of visitors who stayed
On cruise ships.
Correct. Good. In 2010, the number of visitors who stayed on the island was more than the number of visitors who stayed on cruise ships. But by 2017,
the number of visitors stay on the cruise ships increased more than the visitors stay on Iceland.
good, Trami, that is correct. Okay, does that make sense how that works now? Okay, so everyone, it is as simple as that. We will do more of this, of course, over the next few lessons. We will do more of this over the next few lessons. But again, I will just summarize quickly for you what the structure for this particular graph is. The first paragraph is a paraphrase of the title or the question prompt, but title is the easy way of thinking of this. So the first paragraph you should do is to paraphrase what this sentence is. Remember, paraphrase is just using different words. The second paragraph is what? Phung Ni? The second paragraph is what?
Second paragraph.
Remember, the first paragraph is a paraphrase. The second paragraph is what?
It's overview.
Correct, an overview. Okay, and the overview is that between 2010 and 2017, the number of visitors increased. Okay, that is basically the overview. That is the newspaper headline. The number of visitors increased in 7 years. Okay, in fact, it increased, it went up by more than 3 times. The first detailed paragraph, you talk about how the number of visitors increased overall in a little bit more detail. The second paragraph, you talk about how the number of people staying on cruise ships, okay, increased more than the number of people staying on the island. So I hope that makes sense to everyone. So I know we've gone a little bit over time. Sorry, everyone, you're probably getting hungry and ready for lunch. Okay, so what I want you to do, this is going to be your homework. This is going to be your homework. Actually, I'll leave this one for now. So Mrs. Ha.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Mrs. Ha, what I want them to do is I want them to write me, is to actually write out this task 1 exercise for me, to actually answer this question.
Okay. And everyone will write on the same sheet? Okay.
Yes. So do I
Okay.
need to share this with them now?
Yes. Just click, copy the link. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And send them. Okay.
Okay.
So
And I'll send it to them in chat.
And chat. Yeah. Okay. Right. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, everyone in chat, or do you want to explain it to them, Mrs. Ha?
No, I just copy this link and send to the group. And yeah, because some of them are not glad today.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, teacher.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, everyone. So I can see someone starting already. That's very good. But don't worry, you have 2 weeks, 1 week to do this. Okay. So this is instead of the lesson next Sunday.
Okay.
All right. Instead of the lesson next Sunday, please do this exercise for me. the whole thing. So you need to write a paraphrase of the title, you need to write an overview of the graph as we just discussed, and you need to write 2 detailed paragraphs as we have discussed.
Các con nhớ chưa nhỉ? Tức là bởi vì mình đã học các kỹ năng paraphrase từ trước đến nay, học khá rồi đúng không? Rồi học cả một số các cái loại từ, rồi là gì nhỉ? Về cái xu hướng gì đấy, tăng lên giảm xuống hay là giữ nguyên hay như nào đấy đúng không? Của các cái phần đấy học từ trước đây, học rất là nhiều rồi. Thế bây giờ tổ hợp tất cả lại để viết thành một cái bài essay. Rồi Khánh Linh cố gắng tập viết nhiều xong lấy nhé con nhé. Nếu làm thêm được nữa thì có lẽ là bắt đầu phải làm thêm đi thôi. Còn các bạn thì phải chắc chắn là phải làm bài tập rồi và viết ngay trên cái sheet này luôn thôi nhé, không cần phải làm gì cả, nhưng mà bấm vào link xong sau đó thì làm ngay trên sheet thôi, và lúc đó thì nó sẽ có tự động ở trên sheet rồi, các bạn không cần phải làm gì cả. Bài của bạn nào bạn ấy tự viết tên vào. Ok. Yeah, thank you everyone.
Okay, thank you everyone. So are there any questions about that? All right. You don't need to, by the way, you don't need to write 150 words. All right. So just 1 sentence for the paraphrase, 1 sentence for the overview. Okay. And then a couple of sentences for each detail paragraph. So you are writing only about less than 10 sentences for me. That's all you have to do. Are there any questions? Any questions about what you have to do? Okay, so I look forward to seeing that, and we will discuss this next time we meet, which will be in 2 weeks' time.
Okay.
In 2 weeks' time, I will see you again.
Tuần sau mình nghỉ đúng không? Tuần sau nữa thì mình sẽ học lại với thầy. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Goodbye everyone.
Okay. Goodbye everyone. Thank you. All right. Hope you